breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're reclaiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
Welcome, everybody, to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is the political cage match where bold solutions win and bad ideas get wrecked. Tonight, too many agencies regulate your money, your movement, your body, your choices, often without your vote. We're digging into guns, war, ICE, drugs, surveillance, elections, money, and who really wields the power. Tonight's contestants are three sharp political minds from California, as we're taking our show live to the Libertarian Party of California convention, February 13th through 15th. Tonight, no talking points, no dodging, just one question. Who really governs your life? Get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us tonight, you may know him from his presidential run in 2024. He is Lars Mapstead. You can follow him on X at Libertarian Lars. His website is lars24.com. How are you doing tonight, Lars?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Introduce yourself and tell everybody all the great work you're doing. There's so much of it, we couldn't fit it on one slide.
Awesome. Well, after running for president, I basically, saw one clear issue that really kind of stuck out to me, and that was that we're never going to make any traction in the libertarian movement as long as we're gate kept at the ballot box and we can't participate in the election system at all. So I started really focusing on ballot access and making it so that we can participate. So anybody can participate, whether you're a gas station attendant or a millionaire. So we started a Voting Rights Foundation, votingrights.com. You can check it out. We're getting ready to launch a thing over here, Ballots Without Barriers, which is going to be an activist movement to get ballot access changed across the land. Some states are better than others, but we're ready to kick ass. I got a serious team of people that's working on it, and so yeah. And then I'm going to be running for Congress CA 19, so that we can have a libertarian on the ballot in California, because Jimmy Panetta is a kook, and I don't want him as my representative anymore.
Well, if kook is a disqualifying characteristics, we could get rid of a lot of these people. But I saw you kicking around the idea online that you were running, but you're running?
Yeah, I'm gonna file. I'm going to Honduras next week, and when I get back from Honduras, I'm going to Prospera, which is a free economic zone where they get to do whatever the hell they want, which sounds like a libertarian wet dream to me. And so once I get back from that, I'll be filing. I got to get 50 signatures and pay like $1,700. The problem is in California, we have top two. So the chances of me actually making it to the real ballot, the general ballot, is almost none, because it'll either be two Democrats or the Democrat and the Republican. So it's kind of the ultimate gatekeeping. Like, if you're not those two people, you're just not even allowed to participate at all, which is just totally crazy to me. I've kind of come to the conclusion that we need to end the primary system. I'm tired of paying for two private corporations' internal elections. We didn't have primaries, up until the 60s, and we need to just get rid of that crap, go back to straight jungle general election.
Excellent. I got to tell you, you were at Freedom Fest, and one of my highlights from Freedom Fest was I was at a session and I was coming back and I came to the table that we had, and I walk up and you and my son were deep into conversation about education and AI. And I made a beeline to the side, and I'm like, I'm just going to stand here and enjoy this and, watch my son talk to one of the great minds of our movement. And so I just wanted to tell you that was a huge thrill for me. So thank you for doing that.
Awesome. Abolish the education department.
Yeah, abolish it all. Absolutely. Also joining us, Mimi Robson. She's the treasurer of LP California. You can find them at ca.lp.org, and the X is LP of Cal. How are you tonight, Mimi?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, good, because my other thing died. So sorry about that. Hi.
We're known for technical difficulties, so have as many as you'd like.
Okay.
That's live. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody about the convention coming up in California.
Yeah, so I'm Mimi Robson, like you said, and I'm currently the treasurer of the state party as well as the convention committee chair. I'm really excited about the convention. It's going to be really great. We've got great speakers, including, of course, Free and Amity are coming, and we're going to do an Are You Smarter Than a Politician for the LNC chair debate, which is going to be really exciting. We've also got a bunch of other really great speakers. It's like super exciting. I get just excited in general, but we're going to have great auctions, great speakers, a lot of business, a lot of really important stuff. And so I hope that if you're listening, even if you're not a state party member right now, come and just enjoy it. You can go to our website, ca.lp.org/convention. You can sign up. And if you want to go, you want to get your hotel room tonight, because after tonight at midnight, the room rate's going up $20 a night. And you definitely don't want to spend more money if you don't have to. So go to the website. But yeah, I mean, about myself, I've been in the party for, I don't know, longer than probably most people that are watching have been alive. I'm old. And I've run for office. I've been the state chair. I'm currently also the LNC Region 4 alternate. Yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff. So that's me.
Excellent. We're really excited to come out there, even more so now that it's been down in the 30s as the low here in South Florida. So we're really, really excited to get out there. It's going to be a great time. If you've never been to a state convention, they're a lot of fun. We just got back from the Georgia one. We saw a lot of our online friends, which is a trip in real life to meet people that you've been talking to and maybe even sparring with over the last few years, and meet them in person and break bread with them, maybe have a drink with them. It's really a great time. And we have so many friends in California, so it's going to be such a great time. So we're really looking forward to it. Also joining us, last but not least, Loren Dean. He is the chair of LP California. I mentioned the website before. That's ca.lp.org. You can find him on LinkedIn, LorenB Dean. He's also on Substack at LorenDean.substack, and also their X is LP of Cal. How are you tonight, Loren?
Man, it's a great night. It was 80 degrees and partly cloudy in Southern California today, so if you've got a reason to get out of the cold, come and see us in February. It's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody about your background.
Well, all right. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Riverside, California, which is about an hour east of Los Angeles by road. Though when I tell people that, I like to include that I was born in Texas, so I've got dual citizenship for when they secede.
Exactly.
The growing up in Riverside was great, and I really enjoyed it. Riverside is a town of 250,000 people. But I left the state in about 2005, housing bubble, all that sort of thing, and landed in Oklahoma, where I wound up raising my kids. I lived out in Oklahoma for about 12, 15 years. Anybody who grows up in California should go spend some time living somewhere else, just to understand that there are ways to live your life that are not California. And because a lot of people don't really recognize that. They don't understand that. One of the greatest things about living in a small town in Oklahoma, I moved from a city of 250,000 to a town of 5,000, a little manufacturing town in the middle of Oklahoma. And I got to see government finally for the first time. It wasn't hiding anymore like so much government does the bigger the city gets. And I got to watch people in government try to fix problems using government and screw it up over and over and over again. And it pissed me off. So I discovered libertarianism about 2014, moved back to California in about 2019. My kids were grown and gone. The company I was working for got bought. I decided I would take my little nest egg and return to the land of my people. So I came back, and it was late 2019, got remarried, and finally met some libertarians. And then 2020 came, and it was a disaster. California, just nightmarish. Lockdown hysteria, all of that, just horrendousness, just on display. So I had come back ready to make some noise, and so I started making some noise. I started to get active in my local community, get active with my local affiliate, and I've been doing it ever since. I'm going to keep going until they throw me in a camp.
I always say we'll have really good friends in the gulag. So, that's one of the nice things about membership in the party. So
I'm seeing in the chat, they're already throwing me points for Maj's living room. I want people to know I chose this background in honor of Maj. That is what I did.
It always belongs to Maj in our hearts. So anytime anybody uses it, Maj gets a shout out. Shout out to the great Maj Toure and Black Guns Matter and the amazing work they do. Thanks for joining us, Loren. Terry, the lovely Terry Batts joins us. How are you tonight, Terry?
I'm fantastic. I know this is going to be just great. The chat's already on fire and making me laugh. Yes, Chris, thank you for the laughs. I appreciate it. You too, Cy. Hi, everybody. Let's get this done.
Excellent. You can follow Terry and I on X. I am at Smarter Game Show. She is at Bats T76. You can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. Terry will be putting our shorts on YouTube tomorrow. That's at Freedom Uncut. Our Friday night sponsor is Xano. If you're tired of surveillance coins dressed up as freedom tech, Xano is the real deal. Open source, enterprise grade privacy, scalable and secure. Build, spend, and tokenize any asset without the peeping eyes. Xano isn't just private, it's none of their business. And if you're new to this space, visit intro.xano.org to learn how Xano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets, all in one simple, secure platform built for the real world. And that website is intro.xano.org. And we were talking about conventions. We just did the Georgia convention. We're doing 5 more live shows at Libertarian Party state conventions, and you can be there. The next stop is lovely San Diego, California on February 14th. Come meet fellow freedom lovers, watch the show live, and see contestants put to the test. And if you want real change, join your state party, become a delegate, and help shape the national convention. Don't just talk liberty, live it. Come see us live and prove that you are smarter than a politician. After California, we've got 2 more weekends in February. We've got Florida, Virginia. Then March, we're going to North Carolina. April, we'll be in Texas. And we're going to finish it all up with a bang at the National Convention in Grand Rapids, Michigan, May 21st through 25th. Hope to see y'all there. And another exciting thing we got coming up is Terry and I have been working on this for almost a year, and it's going to be something unlike you've ever seen. So mark your calendars for March 6th. We're going live with a 3-hour extravaganza supporting You Are the Power and our buddy Spike Cohen. First, we reinvented political shows. Now we're reinventing fundraisers. We've got big guests, real impact, and one powerful cause. So that's March 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can follow it at all the regular spots. Thank you to our subscribers, Terry, Amity, Ocean Blue, Shirley, Dr. Belay and Lisa, Dan, Chris, Casey, Dave, Jake, Phil, Jacob. We've got Anarcho Syndicate Clothing. Check them out. And we also have Rob, and I forgot to add Papa B just joined us. So thank you, Papa B, as a new subscriber. You can subscribe to us on X for exclusive content and all the goodies. This is your backstage pass. And if you'd like to sponsor us, email us at studio@freedomuncut.com. That was a mouthful. So let's jump into the chat real quick and see who all has joined us. The great Paul Dar, vice chair of the Libertarian Party, is here. I'm sure he thinks that the show is adequate tonight, as he famously said on the show. Patty's here. What's up, Patty? OB's here, a subscriber. Kayla's here. What's up? Rob's here, running for chair of the Libertarian Party. You can vote on that in Grand Rapids. Amity says first 200 to Mimi because, well, girl power, that's why. Gnome's here. What's up, Gnome? Just saw Gnome in Georgia. 200 to Lars for copying the game show background. Make plagiarism great again. What's up, Chris? Another subscriber. 100 to the Libertarian on the panel. That would be sprinkling the infield there. We got all three. 100 to Lars for running. Yeah, that's going to be badass. 100 to Lars for running. That's going to work well for you, Lars. 100 to Mimi for having the first technical difficulty of the night. She beat me. I think you should double it, Chris. I mean, that's amazing. 100 to Mimi for chairing our convention committee and inviting this awesome show to be there live. Oh, thank you so much. Brent's up. What's up? Another subscriber. Oh, check out Brent's show. He just released a new one this week, too. Aiming Up Podcast. Brent's awesome. Travis is here. What's up, Travis? He only says hi to Terry, so I shouldn't say hi back to him, apparently. 100 to Mimi for being the chair, 200 when she's a table. I don't think that's a thing, but we'll give it to you, Pat. They do. He's Canadian. They do stuff differently. 200 to each contestant who has appeared on the Aiming Up podcast. Who's that? I'm not sure.
Hit me up.
Lauren,
I'd love to.
Yeah, do that. 200 Loren for broadcasting from Maj's living room. Here we go. Just kidding. He used the same background when he was on. Mike's here. What's up, Mike? Negative 500 points to whoever decided to vote on bylaws on Valentine's Day.
Correct.
100 to Loren for the weather report segue to bring people to the convention. 100 for being from Texas. Sai's here. What's up, Sai? Sorry I'm late. I didn't think free would start on time. That's 100% accurate. 100 to Loren for streaming from Maj's house. Here we go. 100 to Loren living libertarian life on hard mode in SoCal. So true. Jake's here. What's up, Jake? Oh, I'm going to be on Jake and Mark's show next Wednesday. So you can check me out. Check me out on If by Whiskey podcast Wednesday night. So I'll be there. 200 Lars for the resume. He's got a legit resume. That's 100% true. 200 Lars for the Libertarian game show background. That is top notch. He pulled out all the stops. What's up, Wes? See y'all in Michigan. That'd be fun. We've got Canadians in here called Ice A.
Send it.
You are now subscribed to @Smarter Game Show. That's awesome. Thanks, Dangerous News.
That's me, by the way. I'm that dangerous news chick.
Oh, that's that awesome AI you're doing.
I just subscribed. Yeah, that's my AI chick. It's libertarian boobs.
Can you replace me at some point, because I just have man boobs and I can't really read very well.
I got you, bro. I'll AI you right up.
Excellent. I'd like to retire after the conventions are done, because it's a lot of travel.
Yeah, so I did just subscribe, so now I'm a subscriber because I believe in supporting people that are doing good stuff, and this is good stuff.
Oh, thank you, man. Really appreciate it. This show's pretty okay. Here's Paul Dar throwing in an enthusiastic Paul Dar endorsement. Paul was awesome on the show. We got Paul so mad that he almost flipped a desk. It was the most lit I ever saw Paul. So that was a lot of fun. 100 to Lars for the awesome t-shirt. Yeah, that's a great shirt. Miss Terry is the power behind the throne. Got to be nice to her. It's the reason the queen can do whatever in chess. That is 100% true. We'd be on. It would just be me and Terry if it weren't for Terry. So excellent. All right, let's jump into it here. Welcome again to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Please share this out if you've not done so already. The winner tonight, no peace prizes matter anymore, so we made our own peace prize. it's the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize, so they will not be receiving that because it's just a virtual thing I made up. Also on the prize shelf is Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear. We also have the home edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician if you want to annoy your friends and neighbors. We also have the bobbleheads galore on the prize shelf here. Pick your favorite. We also have the if you're unemployed, you're just sitting on the couch, you don't think you can flip burgers, we have the ICE agent training kit. In 30 minutes, you can teach yourself everything you need to know to be a real ICE agent. It's got the official ICE badge, the Guns for Dummies book, and obviously the honorary GED degree, as well as some disguises so you don't show who you are. We also have the new game, Drone Wars, Empire Overkill. There's CIA quests, lobbyist mode, infinite downloadable content, endless wars, collect resources, topple regimes. We also have, if you're struggling a little bit, we have a new drug called Orange Mud. It's the anti-dementia formula, boosts memory, sharpens focus, clears the confusion, make your brain great again. We also have Ash Patel's book, How to Become a Ladies' Man if you want to catch your own honey pot. And we can't get rid of this piece of shit, so somebody's really got to take it tonight. It's been a
No.
Christmas. Somebody's got to take the Trump nativity set. Make your next holidays great again, I guess. It's great for Trumpmas. Please take this thing so I don't have to look at it anymore. And of course, we have the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Here are the rules. I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The rules are: you have one debate. You have one filibuster. You can veto each other's answers, tariff their answers, redistribute their answers. And of course, everybody starts off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. Here's how scoring works. Chat controls the score, so you can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. Tell us whether you like their answer, didn't like their answer. You can make fun of their clothes, whatever you want to do. And because I believe in crony capitalism playing the role of the government, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they pay me and they matter more. Nuking scores. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down 1,000 points. The twist is contestants can only be nuked one time, and it's got to be for a good reason, so use it wisely. Lightning round, here we go. We'll put Terry in the back. She controls the chat and the scoring, so make her life extremely difficult. Thanks, Terry. All right. First to you, Lars. Category is gun rights. Should federal agencies regulate firearms at all?
Hell no. You should be able to carry whatever you want, defend yourself. It says shall not be infringed. There's no limit to it. There should be no gun laws at all, period.
Excellent. All right, Mimi, to you. The question is, should permits be required to exercise a constitutional right?
Permits shouldn't be required to exercise anything. I don't understand why government agencies think that you need to have permits to do anything at all. I'm a structural engineer, and I have to get permits for like building stuff, and it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do that. It's your property. It's your life. Why does the government have to give permits? Because they want to not only control you, they also want to take your money, because permits cost a lot of money. So no, there should not be permits for basically anything.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Should gun rules be decided at the state level?
No, because there shouldn't be gun rules beyond don't hurt somebody with your gun. You, by all means, own a machine gun. You want to own a machine gun? Own a machine gun, but don't shell your neighbor with it, or he's going to shell you back. And that's the rule.
Excellent. All right. Back to you, Lars. The category is war with Iran. Should military action require a declaration of war?
100%. We have the authorized use of military force, which is basically just Congress copping out on doing their job. We should never be sending our young men and women into combat without Congress authorizing that. This whole crap with the president being able to go in and bomb boats in the water or bomb some other country and call it, some military action for 24 hours. When Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, it was only like 6 or 7 hours, but that got us into World War II. I think that when you start bombing people, that's war to me. And I'm sick of my tax dollars being used to buy bombs that drop on kids in far off lands. And I'm just done with the military industrial complex completely. We need to just completely obliterate most of the military except for defending our own nation and stop this whole imperialism and nation building crap that we got going on. No AUMF.
Yeah, I like to joke that they were trying to protect from fentanyl. So, all right, Mimi, to you. Should diplomacy be prioritized over force?
Yes, because force should never be prioritized, period. I'm assuming that this is in terms of like foreign interventions. I mean, I don't think we should be getting involved in all the foreign wars in the first place, but if we're going to, I'd much rather see diplomacy than what I'm seeing with all the force. Even in countries where there isn't anything going on, we're threatening force. So yeah, force should never be used, period.
Excellent. You might need to go a little louder. We're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. I think you might be a little further from your mic, but all right, Loren, to you. Should intelligence agencies drive foreign policy?
No. Intelligence agencies can theoretically exist, though I don't know how. That wouldn't then lead to vast privacy problems, which we see right now. But in terms of driving foreign policy, no, that's what our elected officials are for. And they ultimately answer to us. Anybody who's not elected shouldn't be driving any policy.
Excellent. All right, Lars, back to you. Category is the IRS. Should the IRS be abolished and replaced with a simpler system?
It should be abolished and replaced with absolutely nothing. 1913 was one of the worst years, maybe if not the worst year in American history. We got the Federal Reserve and the freaking IRS. These two organizations, agencies, whatever that we want to call them, basically enslave us all. They're the machine that drives the military industrial complex. They're the machine that drives all the fraud and corruption and grift. They're the machine that basically drives all the crap that we libertarians don't like. If we get rid of the Federal Reserve and the IRS and abolish those two things, that would take a lot of the bureaucratic swamp out of the system. We need to just limit government, and this is the best way to limit government, because if you starve it from its revenues, it can't do anything.
Excellent. Mimi, to you. Should the IRS be allowed to create rules that carry criminal penalties?
No, because Lars just said they shouldn't exist. So no, they should not. I don't have really much more to say than that. Am I louder though? Can you hear me?
You are louder. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All right. To you, Loren. Should the IRS lose authority to seize assets without a criminal conviction?
Well, I'm going to jump on the Lars train and say that the IRS should lose all its authority and they shouldn't be seizing anything from anyone because it simply shouldn't exist. There shouldn't be an IRS. It just shouldn't be there.
All right. Back to you, Lars. Category is end the Fed. Should an unelected central bank control interest rates?
No, the market should control interest rates. The free market can control the interest rates a lot better than you can see it right now. Trump is trying to install his cronyism into the Federal Reserve so he can control the interest rates to manipulate for his political will. And we all suffer for that. And that's it's not just Trump trying to do this. It's the entire since 1913 they've been basically creating an economy, a false economy, and not letting the market work. And we need to have sometimes crashes, and we need to have sometimes euphoria, and the market sorts it out. Let the free market work. I'm a free market capitalist to the core, and the Federal Reserve needs to go. We need to abolish it. We need to throw it in the fires of Mordor so that it never returns.
Nice Mordor reference. Excellent. Mimi, to you. Should Congress reclaim direct authority over the money supply?
Well, I don't. That's kind of a hard one, because I don't think that the government should have control over it, because we have fiat money. It is controlled. I would rather it, I guess, be elected people that we elect to Congress than unelected officials. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for that.
Okay.
I want to jump in there actually on that. The thing is that we have a lot of different opportunities right now, especially with cryptocurrency, with gold, with different ways of trading, with stable coins. We have all kinds of ways. What we need to do is get the government out of the way, and again, let the free market work. Let people decide how they want to use, what currency they want to use, how they want to buy things, and it gets to this whole thing of the no CBDC. We don't want to be controlled. We want free markets should be free. People should be able to freely trade voluntarily with each other. If they want to use a freaking chicken to trade, they should be able to do that. And if they want to use a piece of gold or a piece of tether or some other cryptocurrency, they should be able to do that. We shouldn't. The government shouldn't have a monopoly on the currency. Because basically they use it as a tool to suppress people and to suppress other countries and to rig the entire world. It's basically just a giant monopolistic tool by the government.
Excellent. Thanks for jumping in.
We as libertarians cannot warn people loudly enough about the dangers of a CBDC. That's the as a tool for social control, as a tool for authoritarianism, as a tool for tyranny. That's disgusting. That's the nuclear bomb, and that you can't oppose that strongly enough.
100%. All right, and I guess the question is to you, Loren. Has the Federal Reserve made housing less affordable?
The Federal Reserve has made everything less affordable because the Federal Reserve is an absurdity. The Federal Reserve is an obscenity. The Federal Reserve should never have come to exist in the first place. And if I could go back in time, I would not do something that would get me on a watch list. But I'd like to dig up everyone involved and punch them in the bones. That's what I want to do for the people who dealt with the Federal Reserve. Absolutely.
Well, if you're not on a watch list, you're on the game show one now. So
yeah, it's far too late for that. I'm sure. Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah. All right. Back to you, Lars. Category is bodily autonomy. Should bureaucrats override doctor-patient decisions?
No, of course not. It's basically, as long as you're not harming somebody else, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want with your body. It's ridiculous. We saw this obviously during COVID. If you want to not get a shot, that should be your option. If you want to get a shot, that should be your option. But the government should never mandate you to do anything with your body. It's the whole, just like drugs. It's like the government is basically creating a black market in drugs with the 50-year war on drugs. It's a total failure. They're not helping the system at all. If you want to do drugs, all the people who want to do drugs today in America are doing drugs. And I would argue that the government is basically creating more people hooked on drugs, not less, and burning trillions of dollars of our money to the ground on nothing, as they usually do with all their stupid programs.
100%. $1 trillion on the war on drugs, and drugs won. So I'm with you. Mimi, to you. Should individuals have the final say over their own bodies?
Absolutely. The government should have no say over anybody's body. Only the individual should have say over their bodies. I mean, and we've seen that they overreach time and time and time again with everything they do, and it should be up to you, so long as you're not hurting other people, like Lars just said. So yeah, the government should have no control over anything.
Excellent. Loren, to you, should federal agencies have power over medical protocols?
No. The only people who should have power over medical protocols are you and your doctor. And you can make that decision for yourself. You can come to those arrangements yourself. You can make an intelligent, informed decision. Nobody needs to have power over that. But you.
Is my mic echoing? Somebody just said my mic is echoing.
No, you're good.
Okay, thank you. Take that, gnome. All right. Back
Hey, I
to you,
met that
Lars.
I met the gnome. I met the gnome.
Did you?
Yep.
And you survived.
I did. I did. Yes, true story.
Yeah. All right. Back to you, Lars. Oh, no, wait. Enter scores. If you've not entered your scores in the chat, please do so now. Let's jump into the chat and see what is going on. $100 for the boobs. Yeah, for the boobs. Yep. American Grimm's here. Welcome. Anarchist Chef's here. What's up? 200 to Mimi. No permits for anything. $100 for 2-8 absolutism. 100 to Mimi. No permits for anything. 100 for the permits. No permits. 200. 200 Loren. Don't hurt somebody with your gun is the only rule. 100 to Mimi. No permits. 100 to Mimi. Permits are just for money. 100 to Loren for no. That's a strong answer. Minus 100 to Loren for no rules than making a rule. $100 for no AUMF. 200 Lars, stop bombing people, please. Lars said 6 or 7 for Pearl Harbor. Minus 100 for 6-7. Yeah, that was coming. 100 Lars. 100 to Mimi for the clearly green screen background. I think I saw it on Etsy. 200 to Mimi, no foreign intervention. 100 to Loren for having the same name as my plumber/brother-in-law. 100 Loren for being in Cannonball Run. Was that you?
Dun, dun.
100 Lars, you don't replace cancer. 200 Lars, revoked 1913. 200 Lars, abolish the IRS. 100 Lars for having my same style of glasses. Oh, your glasses twins. Nice. 100 Mimi, should not exist. 100 Loren, jumping on the no IRS train. Mimi, keeping it simple, plus 200. 100 to Mimi for answering Free's question like it was a ridiculous one. Spoiler alert, they're all like that. Thank you so much, Si. Appreciate that. Kilburn's here and reposted. Thanks, buddy. 100 Lars for the Lord of the Rings reference. 100 Lars for the Massey Mordor reference. Minus 100 Lars for jumping in. Oh, so you met him, so you know what this is going to be like. 100 Lars for trading chickens. Boom, 100 to Mimi, no permits. 200 Lars, free markets and money. 100 Lars for the background. It's a great background. 200 Lars, unrig the system. 100%. That was so awesome during your campaign. 200 Loren, CBDC is the end game. 100 Lars for saying free market, also known as libertarian Viagra. 200 to Loren, the Fed has made everything less affordable. 200 Loren, the Fed is an obscenity. 200 to Mimi, I don't have a great answer, is a perfectly acceptable answer. 200 to Loren, the Fed makes everything more expensive. 175 for the Dom DeLuise tribute, Loren. Nostalgic, threw that word in there to F up Free. Yeah, I said it correctly. I'm looking at you, Chris. 100 to Mimi for being the only one not on a mandate, very libertarian. 100 to Loren for sticking it to Medicaid and Medicare. 100 to Lars because Chef said so. And Mike's here. What's up, Mike? 2 points to Lars, just so someone has to keep track of 2 points. That's Terry, and you're making her life difficult, which was the instruction at the beginning. So that's great. And I forgot to add the scoreboard, so let me do that real quick. And let's pretend like this was smooth. And here we go. Let's see where we are at. Should have done a drum roll or something to kill the dead air there. Where did it go? Lars in the lead, 2702. Mimi just behind at 2100. Loren just behind her at 1975. Loren, you're in third place so far. What do you think?
Man, I need to not make rules if I say there shouldn't be rules. Clearly, that's what's up. All right. Logic. Dang.
The chat will notice that. You'll find that out pretty quick here. Mimi, you're in second place so far. What do you think so far?
Well, I think that I appreciated getting points for not having a great answer. I thought it was funny that somebody thought I had a green screen behind me because, yeah, it's getting darker and my background is horrible. But I didn't even think to do a green screen. So there you go. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm in second place. Yay.
Excellent. Yeah, I lose points for the questions not being good. So you did well there. So Lars, first place so far. What do you think?
It's awesome, and I love Mimi and Loren, so I'm glad to be with them. They're kind of a little bit of my heroes. They're doing the hard work. Mimi is like just a champion of hard work. She does the deal, and you'll hear her say, "Do the thing." There's a lot of people that don't take action in the Libertarian Party. They talk a lot. Mimi's one of the people that takes action, and Loren, chair of California. God bless people who want to be chair. Mimi was also chair. It's a lot of work. This show is great. It's a lot of fun. Questions are fun. I think the thing is just I was on 35 debates across the country, and one of the things that I learned was that like 98% of the questions that were asked to us in the debates we all agreed on, and I think that's pretty much true here tonight also. And it's just good to be among people, my kind of people that want to limit the government or get rid of the government altogether. It's great. We need to get this message out more, and I think this is a great platform for doing that. I think it's a cool way of selling liberty that's different than most of the podcasts that you see. So good job, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, you were actually on my space that was the inspiration for doing this. So we had a presidential debate between you and Chase Oliver and Charles Boulay, and I asked you guys 72 questions in 11 minutes, and that was the origin of the lightning round. So also, do you remember the question I asked you when I interviewed you that no one else asked you?
No.
I asked you how many of Elon Musk's kids you could name.
Right.
When I mentioned the convention, I said I interviewed you, and you're like, "Yeah, everybody interviewed me." And I'm like, "I'm the one that asked you the Elon question." You're like, "Oh, I remember you. That was fun." So that was pretty hilarious. So yeah, thanks for doing this, and let's jump back into it here. And all right, back to you, Lars. Category is immigration. Should work visas be easier to obtain than welfare benefits?
Yeah, I'm not sure that you need even a work visa, and welfare benefits. I don't want welfare benefits. I think that I believe in voluntarism. I believe in helping people. I do a lot of philanthropy, a lot of giving money away to people and helping people. But I think the government is really crappy at spending our money, and that if we were allowed to keep our money and not get taxed to death and not get raped by the Federal Reserve, we would have plenty of money to help all the charities and all the people in need around the country. It's just it's like this thing I saw, like Los Angeles spent, I don't know, some $50 billion of some crap on ending homelessness, and the homelessness went up. And if you just took the $50 billion and gave it to the homeless people, they would all be living in nice houses, and the people that would have given them the money would still have a lot of cash left in their pockets. So we need to just get rid of it all.
Yeah, the war on homelessness won. So, all right, Mimi, to you. Should due process apply fully to immigration cases?
Yes. Okay, I'll go a little. Absolutely, yes. The Constitution is really clear that everybody here, whether they're citizens or not, have a right to due process. And what's happening right now is completely wrong. They can't just decide that certain people don't have due process, especially since some of the people they're picking up and deciding don't have due process actually are citizens. So, yeah.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Should states be allowed to opt out of federal immigration enforcement?
Yes, states should be able to opt out of all federal rules, including membership in the union. The states get to pick, and government is better when it is closer to the people that it governs. And one of the biggest problems that the federal government has is that it's just too far away. It's too far away to be influenced. It's too far away to be impacted. Government needs to be as local as possible, so that it can interface directly with the people and do the things that they need done.
Excellent. Lars, back to you. The category is federal policing expansion. Should federal police operate nationwide?
I don't really think that we need federal police in states. I think that, we need a lot less policing, and especially this whole I think somewhere in here is end qualified immunity right there. And we need to end qualified immunity. We need to end civil asset forfeiture. There's a lot of laws that the government has come up with, and we need to end the whole thing where the government is arming all the different police and different agencies with military grade stuff. It's gotten completely out of control.
Excellent. Mimi, to you, should agencies bypass local sheriffs?
No. Local sheriffs are local for, I mean, they're there for a reason. We have local police because they know their neighborhood, they know their communities. When other agencies shouldn't have anything to do with that. They because I'm not saying this very well, but I believe in, everything should be local. And I believe in voluntary cooperation, which happens on a local level. When you have these agencies coming in and taking over policing, they're thugs and they shouldn't be there. Again, probably not the most eloquent answer, but yeah, that's my answer.
Excellent. All right, Loren, to you. Should local voters approve federal enforcement?
Local voters should get a say in everything that goes on in their community. And there can be a variety of processes by which they can voice that, but they should absolutely get a chance to voice real enforceable will toward any rule that is going to happen in their community, towards any enforcement that happens in their community, towards any intrusion into their community.
Excellent. Lars, back to you. The category is ICE and CBP overreach. Should ICE be allowed to operate without local approval?
Abolish ICE. Let's get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. Let state and local deal with whatever they want to do in their state and local, and the federal government can just do whatever they want to do, but get rid of the ICE altogether.
100%. Abolish ICE. Mimi, to you. Should immigration enforcement require judicial oversight?
Well, I personally think that we shouldn't be having the type of immigration enforcement that we're having, period. But if we are going to have it, which we are apparently, then yes, there should be judicial oversight, which is the due process we were talking about earlier. I think that ICE going into local communities, in masks and unmarked cars, basically kidnapping people, shouldn't be happening. And I believe that, really the judicial branch should be regulating that and stopping it. It's that's one of the good things is we do have a judicial branch that should be stopping the overreach that's happening. So yeah.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Should warrantless searches by border agents be legal?
Warrantless searches should be illegal entirely. Just no warrantless search is legitimate. Absolutely not. You have every right to be secure in your effects and your privacy. Nobody gets to just walk up on you. Nobody gets to roll into your house. Nobody gets to search your stuff. Nobody gets to get in your trunk. Nobody even gets to ask you for ID. Get a warrant. Knock, knock, get a warrant. That's where we're at. And that's where it needs to stay.
In my defense, I would just like to say, who else is talking about warrantless border searches? So it was a dumb question, but it was a good topic. So, all right.
Hitting the hard ones for you. That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Lars, back to you. The category is drug decriminalization. Should possession of drugs be a criminal offense?
We need to completely abolish the war on drugs. What you do with your body, as I said before, is up to you. And we, basically we created a black market. We created the cartels. The government basically created the cartels, and now we're like supposedly bombing other countries, Venezuela, and killing people in boats because of a war that we created that didn't need to happen. When we turned alcohol, when we did the prohibition on alcohol, it created Al Capone. It created black markets and crime. crime went up. Alcohol use didn't change really. People started dying because they were making bad alcohol. So the government basically killed people. Then they got rid of it, and lo and behold, the crime went down, and people still were enjoying their drinks, and no one was harmed. So yeah, we just need to end the war on drugs. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want.
Excellent. All right, Mimi, to you, the question is, has prohibition caused more harm than drugs themselves?
Absolutely, 100%. As Lars said, what happens when you have prohibition is that's when the criminal element comes into it. During prohibition, for alcohol, we got the mafia. Now we've got the cartels, we've got the gangs, we've got all of these things happening simply because of the fact that we don't allow the drugs. If you just allow people to do what they want with their bodies, so long as they're not hurting other people, you don't have all of these problems. So it's all government that's making all of these things so much worse. And it needs to all stop.
Excellent. I think the most fascinating solution to the war on drugs that I have heard and that I frankly support is to recognize the cartels as diplomatic entities. Ask them to have a flag, ask them to declare their capital, and send them ambassadors. Legalize all the drugs, and then recognize them as sovereign nations. And then let's see what happens. I'd be very curious.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of legal cartels in our country. Might as well. All right. Let's see. This is to you, Loren. Should drug policy be handled locally?
Well, the short answer is that drug policy shouldn't exist, because drug policy ultimately leads to government enforcing drug policy, which means that they're deciding what's drugs and what's not. And everybody's got drugs. It's just a question of which drugs somebody decided were scary. And so now you're not allowed to have it because the drug is scary or because someone hurt themselves with it. Drugs do things to people all the time. And trying to ask government to sort out drug policy is as terrible an idea as it is to ask government to sort out any policy. They're going to screw it up. And if you dig into any social ill, it doesn't matter what it is. If you start digging into it and wondering, why is this like this? Somewhere in there, you will find government trying to fix it and actively making it worse every time. So no, government doesn't need to set drug policy because they'll just screw it up.
Excellent. Lars, back to you. The category is ending the war on drugs. Has the government unjustly expanded its authority due to the war on drugs?
Yeah, I think I answered this, but I just was thinking about if these boats that were getting blown up for the fentanyl or whatever it is that they think they were doing. Whether they had drugs or not drugs, it doesn't matter. We shouldn't just be bombing boats in the middle of the ocean because there's no due process. There's no confirmation that they're actually bad people. If our government decided they wanted to assassinate somebody, they could just say, "Oh, there are drug dealers on that boat, and so we killed them all." And there's nothing left of them to, have any evidence. So, I guess the lesson is be very careful what boats you get in when you're in foreign countries. If you're on any list, which maybe people in this chat are on, because your government might just disappear you.
Excellent. Mimi, to you, should states be free to decriminalize without federal interference?
Yes, they should. I think that drugs should be decriminalized federally, but the states should have absolute right to do that. I think local municipalities should have absolute right to do that. But again, I think that I think all drugs should be decriminalized. So if we're going to have any kind of rules, I'd rather it be at a local level, but I'd prefer just not to have any rules.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Has the war on drugs militarized policing?
Absolutely, it has, and it's been a disaster. It's been an absolute disaster. Militarized policing is disgusting, and there's very little in civic government that makes my teeth itch harder than when I hear a local police officer use the word civilian. There is nothing. We are all civilians, yo. You're a civilian too, Officer Brown. the idea that the police are starting to view themselves as a standing army in their community is really, really gross. And that's aided and abetted by a whole variety of people who are just very eager to lick that boot. The number of people who have got a "Don't Tread on Me" sticker right next to their thin blue line sticker is just astonishing to me. Who do you think does the treading, fool? That's who. It's the police that do that. And they're empowered to do that by the fact that they're now all wearing cargo pants and plate carriers. Stop it. Just stop it. Bring back the beat cops in the great big double-breasted coats. I'd love that. I'd love that. Instead, we've got balaclavas and tactical gear. Lame.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, just real quick. I put out a post on X about there was a lot of bootlickers, and I was kind of dismayed and shocked at how many people came into the chat and said, we're not the bootlickers, we are the boots. And it just screamed to me how authoritarian this country has gotten, and how much other people want to suppress their fellow citizens. It's disgusting.
Hey, Lars, quick business idea for you. I had this the other day. What about if we made different flavored boots? So the bootlickers could have different flavors, since
Boot
there's so
pop.
much bootlicking going on.
Yeah, they could be boot pops, like popsicles that are boots and in different flavors. I like it. We should do it.
Even better.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Tank on line 1.
It's Lars Tank. All of a sudden.
Lars
Yeah. Excellent. Enter your scores in the chat if you haven't done so already. The chat is hopping. They love you guys. This is great. But Mimi lost points for being happy. Rebecca Massey.
Sorry.
The great Rebecca Massey. How are you? Minus 100 free for Dead Space. Yeah, this isn't Grumpy Gnome Show. Yeah, that's fair. 100 to Mimi for the bubbly enthusiasm with second place. 200 to Mimi for doing the work, and 100 to Lars for shouting her out for it. Minus 200 to Lars. Stop being nice on my show. Yeah, that's fair. 100 to Lars for taking his time to shout out Mimi and Loren. Oh, David Fight's here. What's up, David? I was just on his show. Check out David Fight's show as well. 200 to Mimi, Deadpan rules. 100 to Lars for being awesome. 100 to every one of Elon Musk's kids you can name. How many did you get? I don't even remember. I think we got to like 6 or 7 or.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it's they changed the names too. He changes the names, and he has so many freaking kids that he's excommunicated a couple of them because they didn't fit his ideology, which I think is kind of disgusting. As a parent, I think you should love all your children unconditionally, regardless of what how they choose to live their life.
I think he shadow banned some of his kids, like he did to me on X. Yeah. 200 Lars, no work visas, no government benefits. Minus 200 Lars for being so rich he doesn't want welfare benefits. His kids' names are just syllables, aren't they? I think some of them are like clicking noises, I think. 200 Lars, you're not the best drummer, but wait, wrong Lars. Oh, little metallic.
Like fire with fire.
Yeah. 100 to Mimi, due process is best. Based? Based. I got it right. 100 to Mimi for due process. Minus 100 Lars for giving money to homeless people. I typically give them a Baconator from Wendy's. I screwed up the wrong word on that. Sorry, Si. 200 to Mimi, due process doesn't depend on citizenship status. 200 to Mimi, I love due process. 73 for Loren if he lets a bird live in his hat. I don't know. 100 to Loren, or as much as I'm allowed, secession today. 200 to Mimi for due process. Minus 100 Lars, federal law enforcement shouldn't exist. 100 to Mimi for the snazzy glasses. 200 to Mimi for due process. 100 to Lars, end civil asset forfeiture. 200 to Mimi, you are saying it very well. 200 to Mimi, federal police are thugs. 100 to Mimi, liberty is local. 100 to Mimi, keep it local. Keep it local. You're saying the right things. Well is relative, Mimi. 200. 100 to Loren and Mimi for taking the chair jobs I keep refusing. 100 to Lars, abolish ICE. Abolish ICE. Oh, Drop the Mask podcast is here. Welcome. It's Jason. 100 Lars, no ICE, please. Take it neat. 100 to Mimi for enduring the absolute horror of convention chair. 100 to Lars for taking his whiskey straight. No ice. We get it. That's good. 200 Loren, knock, knock, get a warrant. 100 to Loren, no warrantless searches. 100 for laughing at the question. Paul, stop trolling me, Paul. You're way too high profile to be my troll. 100 Loren, come back with a warrant. 200 Lars, all drugs should be legal. 194 to free for admitting it was a dumb question. I floated the possibility it might not have been a great question. I don't think I said dumb, but 200 Lars, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want. 100 to Mimi, prohibition is more dangerous. 90 to Lars for prohibition, minus 10 for saying we did it. 200 to Mimi, prohibition doesn't work. Williams here, what's up? He was late because he was reading the new Epstein drop, sped Reddit until deleted. It's better to be here. Appreciate that. Rum runners made V8 Fords badass though. LOL. 200 Lars for ending the war on drugs. 100 Lars and Mimi, prohibition makes black markets. 200 Loren, drug policy shouldn't exist. 100 Mimi, government is the problem and creates the problems. 200 Loren, scary drugs, LOL. 200 Loren, government is at the root of all social ill, but minus 100 Loren for being too eloquent for the show. We've had we've had some very eloquent.
I make no apology, Rob. Suck it.
Yeah, Rob, we've had some really eloquent people on, just not the nights that you've been on. People do things to people all the time. Now some of them are deemed illegal. Don't do government. 200 Loren. 100 Loren for the background. I'm glad you rented my Airbnb. Please don't play the piano. I just had it tuned. 200 Lars, we shouldn't be bombing drug boats. 100 to everyone for being pro-drugs and somehow anti-drug usage at the same time, statistically speaking. 111 to Loren, government will just screw it up. 200 to Mimi, decriminalize all drugs. 100 to Lars, his background makes me think I'm watching a game show. Wait, am I? You may be, possibly.
Oh, do you see my killdozer there? It kept being hidden by my name, but I wanted to see the name's there. There it is, right there.
Wait, hold on. Can I do it? I can't do it. All right. 100 to Mimi, get the fat out. Local or nothing. Points to Mimi. Points to Loren. Teeth itching right there with ya. Stop licking boots, y'all. 100 Loren, that military equipment belongs in my backyard, not at the police department. Points to Loren, we own that equipment. Points to Loren for pointing out how insatiable the police are. Sai puts long words on there to try to mess me up. That's kind of like
I think we've established that's too eloquent for this show.
Yeah. That's 100% true. Minus 100 to Lars for quoting Tim Pool, or as I like to call him, Turd Pool. 100 Lars, bootlickers to boot people should all get the boot. Bootlickers and boot clappers are disgusting. Points to Lars. Points to Loren for pointing out how infashionable the police are. 100 to Mimi, her background is also a green screen, or am I in a simulation? My whiskey's kicking in. 100 to everyone. Cheers. Liberty Shamrockers here. Welcome. 100 to Mimi. I missed her face.
Oh.
JTAG Mafia's here. All these questions are very mainline, agreeable, libertarian questions. Can you ask some that might cause real debate or disagreement? I'm liking the content. Just want to hear some real discussion. I think I already admitted the questions are terrible earlier, but we have a suggestion box, I think. 100 to Lars. Love all your kids no matter what. Hello from Canada. Welcome, Cools Wizard. 100 to me. I must pay my government tax for watching. Appreciate you, William. Billion to Terry. I'll take the over. 200 to Lars for reminding me to come to this. And 200 to Lars for the killdozer. All right, that was a lot. Let's check out where we landed on the scores. And since I had it loaded this time, it's not going to take as long. Lars still in the lead, 51-82, just 82 points ahead of Mimi and less than 100 in front of Loren. It's getting tight. This is a lot of fun. So keep scoring it. The chat's been awesome. Appreciate y'all. All right. Lars, to you. The category is decentralized finance, or DeFi, and this is sponsored by our Friday night sponsor, Xano. Lars, should writing code be treated as a financial crime?
No, absolutely not. And in fact, if you think about it, Ross basically wrote a website and got put in prison for a long time for just having a website. No, you should be able to write code freely, as long as you're not, using it to harm other people. But other than that, you can write whatever code you want, and it shouldn't be regulated by the government. And just do what you want. I mean, the code is used for good all over the place, and the government gets involved in all kinds of regulations and suppresses great ideas and great innovation because they have a lot of fear of losing their power. So no, we should be able to code whatever we want.
Totally agree. Mimi, to you, should Americans be free to use crypto without permission?
Yes. Americans should be free to use whatever they like without permission. And crypto is something that shouldn't be regulated by government at all. It started out not regulated by government, and they had to try to figure out a way to regulate it, which is still kind of confusing how they're even doing that. But yeah, no.
Excellent. Loren, to you, should agencies be allowed to regulate crypto by enforcement outside of the law?
Enforcement outside of the law, like enforcing something without there being a law? What?
Yeah, exactly.
That's absurd. What? No.
I run a game show. Absurd's kind of my thing. So
the idea of a government agency attempting some flavor of enforcement without a law is nuts. That's crazy. That's people just making stuff up as they go. I don't even know what to make of that question. No, government doesn't get to just randomly do stuff and then without there being laws and rules about what they do. That's crazy. Let me look at it again. What's going on here? Should agencies be allowed to regulate crypto by enforcement? Oh, okay. So are we reading this as their... Wait, no, still no. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you got me so confused.
Still
That I
no.
wrote the damn question.
Agencies should not be allowed to do anything that is outside of a law. And this actually brings up a really great point too. And it's worth, sort of slamming the entire federal government for this. And that is that the legislature is full of a bunch of craven, spineless weasels who have abdicated their lawmaking power. They've handed it all over to executive branch agencies to write rules rather than laws. And they create all these different little rules and regulations, and they all conflict, and it's ridiculous. And then they have to write clarification letters, and nobody really even knows what the regulatory environment is from day to day. Totally insane. Congress needs to reclaim its lawmaking power, is what they need to do, and strip it from all of these enforcement agencies that are just writing rules at random. Unelected people should not be making the rules, ever.
Excellent. We should have just skipped to the great point part. We should have just gone straight there. I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you. I write a lot of questions. Some are stinkers. So I'll wear that. Lars, back to you. The category is financial autonomy. Should people be allowed to use private money alternatives?
Yeah, as I said before, you should be able to use whatever you want to transact. I mean, the fact that the government basically controls our money, controls interest rates, is basically just authoritarianism at its finest. And there's so much. We're already, we talk about no CBDC. But the reality of it is we're already heavily tracked by our government on finances. Go to a bank and try to take out $15,000. Go to a bank and try to deposit $15,000. They'll put you on, you have to fill out forms and get on a list. When you buy stuff on credit cards, all that stuff is going into the NSA computers already. They know exactly what you're doing. So yeah, I like cash, but even cash can be followed. So I like to do privacy, crypto, and just other kinds of transactions. We should be able to do whatever we want without the government looking over our shoulder and trying to see every little waking moment of our lives. We don't need the freaking nanny state to manage our wallet.
When I try to take out $15,000, they just laugh at me. So they say you can't take money out of your ex-wife's account. So that's what I get. So. All right, Mimi, to you. Should the government be allowed to freeze accounts without conviction?
Again, absolutely not. I mean, they shouldn't be allowed to. No. Why would the government be allowed to freeze an account just arbitrarily? It's that makes no sense. And there has to be some reason if you're going to do that. And I can't even think of a reason to do that necessarily, but no.
In my defense, they do it all the time. So this is not like I just made, yeah.
No, you didn't make it up. But I mean, the answer is no, they shouldn't. And they do it. They do it with that. They do asset forfeiture. They do, they steal people's money all the time, and they shouldn't. And I think, and that's one of the problems is, like, obviously all of us here, I think we all agree with that. The problem is that we've got government that is so out of control that they do that kind of thing all the time, over and over again. They go in, they clean out your bank accounts. They go in and they steal your stuff. And, a lot of times they do that. And in the end, the person is found actually not guilty of whatever it is they were supposed to have done through the judicial system. And then they still don't get the stuff back. So it's just theft. And, this is like even worse than taxation is theft. This is just straight out theft. So I understand why you asked the question. It's just such an obvious answer, but I guess, that's because we're here as libertarians, and maybe some people don't understand that. So maybe that was my mistake of thinking people do understand that.
Yeah, no, the aforementioned bootlickers.
Let me jump on here real quick, because Mimi mentioned asset forfeiture, and so I should mention this just as a shameless plug. The Libertarian Party of California has joined an amicus brief to the Supreme Court in a case directly opposing civil asset forfeiture. So it was something that was started by the Libertarian Party of Oregon. Shout out to Oregon, and their chair contacted me and said, "Hey, we're looking for all the state affiliates to sign on to this brief. We want to get a whole bunch of people on this thing." We put it in front of the executive committee. They were like, "Duh, yeah." So we signed on, and so we're part of that. The libertarians are part of a brief that's going to the Supreme Court to try and end civil asset forfeiture. It will be awesome if this court does that.
That's amazing.
I wanted to throw
and
real quick.
I'm so. Oh, oops.
Hold on. So basically, what happened to me was I had an investment in a lab that was testing marijuana in Nevada, and that company sent me a check for repayment of some of my investment, and the check was drawn on Wells Fargo, and I had a Wells Fargo account, so I moved a check from Wells Fargo into my Wells Fargo account, and I woke up on January 1st to find all of my accounts frozen, zeroed out. And I thought I had been hacked. And so it took 3 days for me to figure out, because January 1st was a holiday. And they didn't even know where my money had gone. And they canceled all my wife's accounts. They canceled all my other bank accounts. And I had to move completely off of Wells Fargo. And they basically told me that, they need to keep in compliance with the federal government war on drugs, basically. And so therefore I couldn't bank with them anymore because I was a high risk candidate. And I'm like, I literally deposited a check from your bank in the same bank. You guys are freaking idiots. Sorry, rant.
That's crazy. All right. I lost track of where we're at. That was Mimi, right? So I think this is to Loren. Should the government be able to see every transaction you make?
Get a warrant. There's theoretically some reason for you to be investigated and your transactions to be investigated, but nobody gets to just hoover up the data. We have the right to be secure in our possessions and in our papers and in our transactions. Nobody gets to just watch that stuff, and nobody gets to just hoover up all that data. No. If you want to investigate somebody, get a warrant and investigate them. You don't get to just look.
Excellent. Lars, back to you. The category is technocratic governance. Should algorithms make policy decisions?
Well, this is going to be an interesting time for sure, because I'm already we're starting to see some countries turning over their rule or their governance over to AI in some form or another. And I know our governments are already using it. I think it's kind of inevitable. I'm nervous about the outcome, but the other issue is that I also believe that whatever countries embrace AI governance are going to be a lot. They're going to have a lot less waste and a lot less fraud because because there's not as much room for graft and corruption. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's a tough one. I think it's coming whether we like it or not, and I guess we're going to find out what it's all about.
Scientific, I heard Lars say there, great question, just FYI. Mimi, to you. Should experts rule without elections? Basically,
No.
should experts be able to make rules or policy when they're unelected?
No, they shouldn't. I mean, experts, I think that it's good to have experts involved in policy making in order to come up with policies, but it either should be the people that vote on that, or it should be the people elected that vote on that, but it shouldn't be just the people. And we see that all the time with regulatory agencies, right? Like supposedly people in regulatory agencies, they have some expertise that makes them be able to, control whatever it is, whether it's like the environmental protection groups or whether it's, building permits or whatever it is. It's unelected people making rules that you have to follow without any kind of oversight from the people that you're making those rules for. So experts are good in certain respects, but they shouldn't be the final decision makers, because we found that can be very, very bad. So yeah, experts good, them making policy without any kind of oversight, bad.
Excellent.
Yeah, Mimi and I live in Southern California, which was subject for 2020, 21, 22 to the rule of unelected bureaucrat, the public health officers, the county health officers, who got up every week, every month and every week in front of county supervisor boards all over Southern California, all over California, and said, oh, we just don't know. Everybody has to stay locked down. All the kids got to go to Zoom school. Grandma's got to die alone. It was heinous. And people should be arrested. People should absolutely be arrested for that. The local guy here in Riverside, I'm going to call him out. Cameron Kaiser, if you hear this screen, I hate you. I absolutely hate you. You're a moron, and you shouldn't be working anymore. Is he working? Yeah. He got fired as the Riverside County Public Health Officer and then went and got hired as the San Diego County Public Health Officer, which he shouldn't have, because these guys all just bounce around. And it's crazy and it's insane, and they shouldn't be allowed to do it, ever.
Excellent. The question is to you, Loren. Should governance require consent?
Yes, in every particular. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. Nothing can happen to you without your consent. You have to consent, or it's force, and that's no good.
Excellent. Lars, back to you. Category is voting reform. Should federal agencies have any role in elections?
This is a tough one. I'm in general, I'm for state autonomy and state rights. But for actual federal elections, we already have a lot of rules for federal elections. I think that for Congress specifically and for the president, there should be some oversight, but a lot of the stuff can go. Like, we don't need the FEC. We don't need the draconian laws. I mean, the reality of it is that we should have some really basic laws, and the government shouldn't be creating new laws, because what they do is they just make up new shit to suppress us all. And so I guess what I'm saying is I'm in generally favor of less laws, less regulation, less government, and let's whittle it down to as small as it can possibly be, so that we don't even realize that it's there.
Excellent. You see that, Cy? 2 questions in a row he liked. Just throwing that out there, Cy. Scientific likes to critique me in the chat. So, Mimi, to you. Should voting rules be set only by legislatures, not agencies or courts?
So I think that it's the legislation that typically does create the voting rules, although I think that the courts definitely have something to say about them because it's people that bring the questions of whatever the legislature has done to the courts. As far as the experts, I don't know where they come into that. That's what the third option was, right? Experts, was that it?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, experts are great, I guess, to testify in court, but the actual it should actually all just come from the citizens, from the people, but I guess by extension who they vote into office. But then you have the final oversight of anybody can, use the tort system to try to fix mistakes. But experts shouldn't be able to make any policy, period, like I said before. So yeah, I think it's the people first, but if you're only given those options, I guess the legislature and then the court.
All right. Loren, to you. Should voter rolls be audited annually?
Yes, it's a serious problem, because not because like we can hate on different populations of people and they shouldn't be on the voter rolls, whatever, but because that's how we define and apportion representation. And in order for there to be fair representation, the voter rolls have to be accurate. We need to know how many people are voting, how many people are in the place, so that we can have representation. Now, I think federal representation has gotten too big anyway, and we should probably double things like the House of Representatives, shrink those districts and stuff. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, the voter rolls should be audited heavily, and they should be transparent. They should be auditable by the public.
Yeah, I just one point on that. We have if you own stock, you get to vote on different shareholder things and different things that are going on with companies. And it turns out there's only like six companies that manage all that voting. Finances are one of the most heavily regulated industries in America. And somehow they're able to make it so that you can only vote your shares one time. You can't vote from multiple places. And our government is not able to make this happen. It's like they don't want it to happen. They like the confusion and the chaos because it allows them to stay in power and keep hold of power.
All right. Lars, back to you. The category is ballot access. Is ballot access intentionally rigged to protect incumbents?
Unrig the damn system. Yes, 100%. It's more than just that. It's the whole media is in cahoots with the system. It's totally corrupt. It's totally I'm going to tell you about two stories real quick. There's basically you all know about Larry Sharp, who basically got kicked off the ballot because they didn't like his signatures. RFK basically got kicked out of New York also because they didn't like his signatures. There's a guy in Michigan that collected 24,000 signatures, and the Democrats sued him because he put a P.O. box on one of the pieces of paper and said you're out. And then when you want to get relief, when your only option for relief is to go to the courts, and the freaking courts, the judges are appointed by whoever's in power in that state, and usually it's lopsided. So either they're a Democrat judge or they're a Republican judge, and they don't want to upset the apple cart, because if they vote against their party, they won't be appointed to the next judgeship. So the whole thing is absolutely corrupt. It completely needs to be unrigged. I think that you should be allowed to go to a special nonpartisan board instead of a judge in order to have your ballot sufferings heard. Yeah.
Excellent. At least my questions are getting laughed. Mimi, to you. Should federal law cap signature requirements for candidates?
Federal law cap. I'm not really sure how to answer that, and this could be possibly because I'm in California, and that's not a thing here necessarily because of the way that we have the signature collection and also the top two. Can I see the question again? I'm
Absolutely.
being stupid, but yeah.
In a lot of
it's okay.
states, the signature requirements keep going up, up, and up. Like New York being one of them, where they're
Right,
just
so-
making it like super costly and requiring tons of hours to go out there and get the signature requirements.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying I was probably being dumb and not understanding the question completely. I think that what these states are doing is completely wrong, and I think it's because the states are run by the parties, right? So, like in Illinois and in New York, they have these ridiculous signature requirements that keep going up, like you said. Whereas for the Republicans and the Democrats, they don't have to do that. They don't have to go through all of the hoops. And like in New York, they keep giving less and less time. It should not just necessarily be capped. It should be made a fair process for all parties. So if you're running, you shouldn't be required to do this like crazy thing. I mean, it's kind of like everything. They do everything they can to suppress having alternate voices. They only want the two-party system. And I think there should be caps. I don't know who should do that though, because is it the legislature? Maybe it should be something that goes to ballot initiative by the people in the state. Because I think that what's happening is that the legislature is whichever major party is in power in whatever state it is, and in those two particular states it's Democrats that are making the barriers higher because they don't want alternate voices to be heard.
All right. Loren, to you. Should ballot access rules be uniform nationwide?
Ballot access rules should reflect the will of the people who are electing the specific representative. So for federal office, probably. For state office, they should be the purview of the state. For local office, they should be the purview of whatever the locality is. Government needs to be responsive to the people that it governs. Government needs to sit closer to the people that it governs in every possible instance. Does that make sense?
No, it's a great answer. Love it. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. The chat's still hopping here. 100 to Lars for Killdozer. Points to Lars for shouting out Ross Ulbricht. Points to me. The questions are easy, but it sparks conversation for those who are listening, who may be new to libertarianism. I paid Amity to say that. Points to Lars for the Killdozer. Points to Mimi. Crypto shouldn't be regulated. Points to Mimi, should be able to use whatever. Points to Mimi, I've been a libertarian for 10 years and I still don't understand the math behind crypto, so I'll assume you're right. Points to Loren, government can't just do stuff. Points to Loren, his head explodes at the question. Points to Loren for his vibrant energy and a smile so shiny it makes the sun cry. Thanks, Patty. Points to Lars, we should use whatever we want to transact with. Points to Lars for financial autonomy. Points to Lars for no CBDCs. Same. Points to Lars for talking about interest rates, or as the normies call it, I've lost interest rates. Points to Lars, truth, we are heavily tracked. It is a form of CBDCs. Points to Mimi, pro crypto response. Points to Lars, we don't need the nanny state. Points to Lars, no nanny state. Points to Lars for not needing a financial nanny state. Points to Free's ex-wife for changing the PIN code. That was a smart move by her. Points to Mimi, government steal money via asset forfeiture, which is theft. Points to Mimi, government shouldn't be able to freeze a crypto account. My point is government shouldn't exist at all, full stop. Points to Mimi, and civil asset forfeiture. They won't do it, but that's badass. Points to Loren. Points to Loren for taking civil asset forfeiture to the Supreme Court. That's amazing. Points to Lars for the marijuana lab. Points for civil asset forfeiture. Jump in. Points to Loren. Amity brief. Oh, interesting. Points to Lars for living through that experience. Points to Lars. Wells Fargo robbed you. Wait, all banks do that. Wait, the Fed does the same thing. Points to Loren. Get a warrant. Minus to Lars for still thinking Wells Fargo is one of the good criminal organizations.
I don't.
Points to Loren, get a warrant. Points to Loren. Points to Loren. Points to Loren, get a warrant. Talk is popular in the chat, just like taxation is theft. Points to Lars for being a good citizen. The AI overlords will turn your toaster back on now. Points to Loren, fuck Cameron Kaiser. I don't swear much, but Cameron Kaiser deserves it. Points to Loren, everything should require consent. Points to Mimi, RFK Jr. proved they'll let any riffraff in there. Oh boy. Points to Loren for the MAGA shirt with with Biden's auto pen. I couldn't make it through that one, William. That was a good one. Points to me for getting 2 good questions, which brings the total to 2. Yeah, thank you so much. Points to Mimi. Experts go through peer review and statistical critiques, not popularity contests. Minus to Loren. Voting roll audits are a waste of time, as is voting harder. I won't vote until it's on a blockchain. That's fair. Points to Lars. Unrig the damn system. Points to Lars. Larry Sharp. Points to Lars. Don't want to upset the apple cart. Points to Lars. Show is almost over, and I finally read your background. I'll give you more points, but the government limits me. Yeah, that's fair. Points to Lars for spearheading the VRF, Voting Rights Foundation. Amazing work there. 100%. Points to Mimi. Ballot access should be fair for all parties. Points to Mimi for thinking about the question. Yeah, that's it. You have to think about some of them. Points to Mimi for bringing up signature requirements. Points to Loren. Government needs to sit closer to the people it governs. And points to Loren. And let's check out where we are at with the scores. And Lars still in the lead, 74-82, but it is tight. Loren just behind, and then Mimi. Let's do one more and see if we can sneak one in here. All right, back to you, Lars. Category is education bureaucracy. Should federal agencies influence curriculum?
Absolutely not. No. In fact, that was my big rant there at Freedom Fest. I think that we're going to get rid of public education altogether in less than 10 years. I think AI and robots are going to be teaching most of the kids, and we're going to have more back to tribes for humans. So we're going to have more community kind of events and more socialization. But the actual math, English, and that sort of thing is going to start way before school starts today, because these robots are going to be in our house starting this year. And the robots are going to be teaching our kids all the time. And what's awesome is that the robots can be trained on your ideals and your beliefs and your philosophy, and not on the stupid government that's trying to brainwash all of our children. I watched my kid go through COVID and have to, sit on Zoom, and I got to listen in to what the teachers were, implanting in my kid's brain. And I literally had to stop myself from just screaming at them at the top of my lungs, because obviously I live in Northern California, in one of the most blue areas that there possibly is. And they literally brainwashed my kid. And it's taken quite a bit of time to deprogram her from the freaking state. We need to end the federal government in all forms of education. And I also believe that we should just end the local and state also from all forms of education, because there's better alternatives out there that isn't political dogma from the left or the right.
Just asking for myself, will the robots have boobs? Because I probably would have done better at school.
100%. There's already sex robots you can buy. So have at it if you want. I mean, whatever you want to do, as long as you're not harming other people. I don't know if robots count. Is the NAP?
I was talking about the school. Like the teacher would have been saying, "Eyes up here, eyes up here."
Can I piggyback on Lars's point for just a second?
Absolutely.
The school policy in your city is something that you can affect right now. You can go be involved in what's going on in your school system right now. The schools have a whole variety of rules that they have to abide by regarding how they spend the money that they get. Now, should they get the money? No, because public education is lame and taxation is theft, and it should not be going to that. But the system that we live in is that they do. And if they're going to do that, they have to abide by a whole variety of rules. They have a bunch of reporting requirements. They have a whole bunch of reports that they have to try and produce. They have things they have to do to be transparent to the public. Nobody in the public goes and looks at that. And so they're just continuing to get away with all sorts of madness. And you can go get involved with it right now. You can find out who your school board trustee is right now and go get some lunch. You can get on separate parent committees. You can tune in to their agendas. You can pay attention to what's going on in your schools. And if COVID has taught us nothing, it's that you must be involved in what's going on in the schools in your community, because they're doing dreadful damage to children, and you can help stop it. And you can do it today.
Can I actually say something on that too?
Sure.
Actually, so I think that, everybody made really good points, but I think that one of the things that we really need to look at is we need to get rid of the mandate that kids go to public education. I think that one of the things we need to do is start fighting more and more for school choice. I think that parents should have the opportunity to send their kids. It's great that they go and they get involved in their local public school, boards and things like that to try to, do curriculum. In Los Angeles, for instance, it's a huge public school system. Nothing really can change. What we need people to be able to let their kids go. We're all paying taxes that they make us pay to send children to school. That money should be able to be used to not just go to public schools, to make public schools have to do what we want them to do, or we go to other schools. It can be parochial schools, it could be charter schools, it could be whatever it is, but parents are given the opportunity to decide how their children are educated, or take them out of school completely and put them into homeschooling. But right now, I think that we put too much emphasis on what the government is teaching our kids. What we really need to do is we need to get government out of teaching our kids. We need to have our kids taught what we want them to be taught, where we want them to be taught, by who we want them to be taught, not forced to have public schools and government schools. Government schools, if they exist, should have to still operate in the free market, which would be how you use your voucher or your tax incentive or whatever it is to send your kids to school. So I think that those answers are good, but I think that what we really need to focus on is getting the government out of schools completely.
Excellent. This question's back to you, Mimi. Should education be controlled locally?
Well, kind of like what I was just saying, education should be controlled by the parents of the kids being educated. If that means at the local level, yes, absolutely. They should be like what Loren said, being involved in your school district, being involved in what's happening in your school district, but also the parents should be the ones that are involved in where the kids are taught. But just like everything else, everything should be more local. Nothing should be decided on the federal level. Nothing should be decided on the full state level for your kids. That should be done locally, and even more so than locally by the parents themselves.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Should federal education funding be ended?
Yes, because it comes from taxes, and taxation is theft. The whole notion of taking money from people to then distribute it to services that those people probably need to go buy for themselves anyway is stupid. I know people who've lost their homes over school fees. It's crazy. The little old ladies, right? I literally know a little old lady who lost her home because she could no longer afford the school taxes on her property. That's disgusting. And that sort of practice needs to end, because taxation needs to end. But that's the simple answer. There shouldn't be funding for public education, because government should not be seizing the money from you to fund it in the first place.
Excellent. Back to you, Lars. The category is housing and infrastructure. Should regulations be blamed for housing shortages?
100%. I think that the majority of the housing crisis that we have is basically from government. Government manipulating with rent controls and zoning and what you can build and where you can build it and how high you can build it. These people are absolute kooks. Let the free market work. We're just completely overregulated. Not only that, but The whole 2008 housing crisis that we had was completely manufactured by government, forcing banks to give loans to people that would never, qualify for a loan. They completely broke the market, and the result was a giant financial collapse. And then they, what government does best is they're there to solve the problem that they created, and then they printed trillions of dollars of money to bail out the freaking banks that they basically collapsed on purpose. And this is all, goes back to ending the Federal Reserve and abolishing the IRS and getting rid of it, because that is the root cause of all of these problems. But yeah, over regulation, over government authoritarianism is absolutely the cause of the high prices. In my town, they tried to pass a rent control, and they wanted to charge people 2 years. You had to give the renters 2 years worth of rent in order for them to move out. There was no way to get them out. You could never raise the rent. And so what happened? The landlord said, you don't like property rights. You don't want to protect property rights, so we're not going to be landlords anymore. And they stopped being landlords, which took supply off the market. And then what happens when you take supply off the market? Oh, the price goes up. Oh, gee, who could have possibly known that? And we just see it over and over again. And right now the government is subsidizing low-income housing and all kinds of stupid crap in my town. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Get government out of the way. Very, very limited to no regulation at all. Let the market sort it out.
Excellent. Mimi, to you, should zoning be controlled locally? You're muted. I can't unmute you.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know I muted myself.
Okay.
So that's a great question for me, considering, I said earlier, I'm a structural engineer, and I do buildings, and zoning is something that, yes, it should absolutely be local, but it's ridiculous, because the zoning laws are ridiculous. And they I'll give an example, which maybe isn't the best thing to do, but I'm working on a project right now, and it's a building, a building that was built in the early 70s, and it had a major fire. And we've had a lot of fires. I'm working on a lot of fires. And so once you have that fire, it's like suddenly this is the local government. They're coming in and they're saying, you know what, we've changed our zoning laws, we've changed the ordinances, we've changed the setbacks. So therefore, because you had this tragedy where all of these people lost their condos, we now are making you jump through all these hoops to have to get a building that was already approved, 50 years ago or whatever, 60 or however many years. You have to go through, and you have to pay them, and you have to go through all of the things, and it costs a lot of money. So zoning really is something that we need to look at very carefully about it. I understand that there's reasons for it, but really what I believe is that, it's your property. I understand that you can't do things on your property that are going to affect other people by encroaching on your neighbor's property. But I think that really even local zoning laws can be an infringement on liberty, because it should be your property. You should be able to put it back, especially the way it was. So yeah, it shouldn't even, it shouldn't even exist, really. And if it's going to exist, it should only exist for reasons that actually keep the community safer and make sure that neighbors don't infringe on other neighbors. But yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm a structural engineer. I see in the chat that somebody took points away from me for that. So.
No, I think you got points for it, but you lost.
Oh, I got.
For Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never worked for Trump. Sorry.
There you go. Well, we all work for Trump right now, but yeah.
Well, kind of, sort of, but yeah.
I hear you. All right, Loren, to you. Could markets fix housing faster than planners?
Yes, with the caveat that the markets have to respond to the desires of the people on the ground a little bit. I belong to a community alliance. It's not a homeowners association. It's a neighborhood advocacy group. And again, local shout out. If there are neighborhood advocacy groups in your town, go join one. You need to be involved in your local community, and you need to be getting to know your neighbors, and you need to start mapping out the paths of power in the place where you live. If you don't do that, there's a game being played. And if you don't play it, the game doesn't stop. You're just volunteering to lose. So get out there and play the game and figure out what's going on in your town. And you're going to find there's only a couple hundred people who are making all the decisions. And you need to figure out who those people are. So back to the point at hand, there is a big kerfuffle going on in my neighborhood about a desire to replace an aging and dilapidated Kmart with a massive apartment block. And the neighbors around are really up in arms about it. And there's a substantial amount of argument going on about what it should look like and why it should be like that. And of course, the solution that everybody reached for was the city needs to deny this permit. We have to use all the environmental quality reports, and we have to question everything and bog this process down and snow the electeds under with complaints to get them to vote no on this thing. There's room for that kind of debate in a community amongst neighbors who are talking face to face. And what actually ended up happening is that representatives of this neighborhood group to which I belong and the lady who owns the local shopping center who was going to sell the project, they all sat down and had a conversation to say, what if we built this instead? What if we built it like this? What if we shrunk the number of units? Would that be cool with you guys? And broadly, some agreement was reached. And it was marvelous to see neighbors come together and actually have these conversations with each other about balancing their property rights against one another, because you're right next to my property and I would really prefer that you not do that. So those are good conversations to have. Now, involving government in that gums it up and makes it tough. And so that should be avoided if it's at all possible. And government really shouldn't be the go-to for any of that. Neighbors need to talk to their neighbors about what's going on their property and come to voluntary decisions amongst themselves.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry. I totally deviated from this question. Could markets fix housing faster than planners? Yes, 100%. Short answer.
All right. Final answer, right? Lars, back to you. Category is prioritizing local activism. Should communities be able to nullify federal enforcement?
Yes, absolutely. I think that, our Constitution basically says that we have the right to hold our government accountable. And if you're local and the federal government comes in and is trampling on your rights and trampling on your fellow citizens' rights, you have absolute authority to put the government down and put the government in its place. That's built into our base structure, is that we have the right to question authority and question our government and replace them as necessary for the goodwill of the citizens.
Excellent. Mimi, back to you. The question is, should activism focus locally before nationally?
Yes. I think, again, and I keep saying this over and over again, I think, yes, there's national issues, but I think all activism, all politics is local. I think that that's where things happen. I think that people need to be working together at the local level to work on all of the things both locally, which affect us typically more, but also even locally for what's happening nationally. Like we see that happening all over the place. For something that's happened in another state, we're being involved in that in other states. But we need to be working together locally, because that's where politics happens. That's where activism happens. That's where people are able to get together easily and make their voices heard, and also make their voices heard in their local communities as far as the government entities in those communities as well. So yes, local is always the place for things.
Excellent. Loren, to you. Should local juries judge regulatory crimes?
Regulated by whom? What kind of regulation are we talking about? Is it a local regulation of some sort? Because if it is, it's probably a government gig and it's probably stupid anyway. Local juries should probably judge everything, at least in whatever happens in their community. If a crime occurs in their community, a local jury should judge it. Now, what exactly qualifies as a crime? There's a whole big conversation to be had about that. but a jury of your peers is a jury of your peers. It's not a jury from another state. It's not an en banc panel on some circuit court. It's a jury of your peers. You should sit in front of a jury of your peers, and your crime, whatever it is, should be explained to that jury. And if the jury says, we think that's stupid, then the jury should nullify that charge. If you get brought up on some ludicrous regulatory thing, and the prosecution can't explain it to the jury in a way that a jury of normal people can understand, then that jury should acquit you, because that rule is probably stupid, and you don't deserve to be arrested for it. Jury nullification's for real, and there needs to be more jury nullification. Jury nullification needs to be included in jury instructions. A lot of people don't even know they can do it, or they're afraid to do it. Oh man, what if I get arrested for that? You won't. You're going to be fine. Nullify it.
Excellent. All right, last 3 questions of the night. Category is small business regulation. Lars, to you, should compliance costs be capped?
No, we don't need compliance. Screw compliance. There shouldn't be cost to comply. I don't want to comply. Am I being detained? No, absolutely not. We have way too much overregulation. We have all these different licensing that you have to have, permits that you have to have. No, I don't need a permit. I don't need a license. I get to do what I want as long as I'm not harming other people. Get the freaking government out of the way. Again, get rid of the nanny state. I don't need it, looking over my shoulder and telling me what kind of bag I can use, or what kind of straw I can use, or what I can drink, or where I can breathe, or whatever. Screw the government. I have more to say, but that's it.
Excellent. That was a good rant. I liked it. Mimi, to you. Should mom and pop shops face federal rules?
No, I don't think mom and pop shops should face a whole lot of rules. I don't know why they should. I mean, especially in your local communities. And I'm not quite sure how to take this, but going back to the COVID days, basically there was mom and pop shops that were doing the same thing as some of the big box shops, except for they weren't considered essential and the big box ones were, so they were closed down. And we had in Hanford, California, we had a city council person elected who, one of the first things she did in office was she made a motion to deem all businesses in the city essential, so that they could stay opened against what the state rules were. So all rules should be local, and mom and pop shops in your local community. Why should the federal government have anything to do with that? And frankly, why should the state government have anything to do with that? That should strictly be local. So, yeah.
Excellent. Loren, last question of the night to you. Should regulation favor large corporations? I can already hear you laughing at me. All right, here we go.
Man, you're giving me all these ones. Regulation shouldn't favor anybody. If there's going to be a regulation, it's got to apply equally to everybody. And the idea, and you've mentioned some crony capitalism here already on the show, and that sort of legislation is an atrocity in the American body politic. The idea that large corporations get to show up and dictate policy as though they are experts. We've already talked about unelected experts writing legislation and running the government. The corporations can't jump in and write legislation governing themselves. You can't do that. The regulation needs to be fair when it exists at all, and it should exist extremely sparingly, and should probably exist in a book the size of a roadmap. Regulation should not favor large corporations. It should not favor anybody.
Excellent. All right, we've reached the end of the night.
Hey, can I jump in? Can I jump in real quick? My pen happens to be a titanium tactical pen, which I purchased because my original tactical pen I carried was confiscated by TSA goons at the Reno airport on my way home from the national convention. So I bought one that looks like a regular pen, but is in fact titanium. So there we go.
Based.
Just for the sake of the chat. There you are.
I have no idea what we're talking about at this point. But I missed literally all of that.
My pen has gotten some love in the chat, so I figured I would mention my pen. Yeah.
So enter your scores in the chat. Tell us what you think. Tell us who you thought won. Let's jump in the chat here. Points to Lars, get rid of public education. Points to Lars, no feds in education. He is correct. AI will change education. You betcha. We got a you betcha. Points to Loren. I really liked his education answer. Fantastic, even though it wasn't his question. Points to Mimi for making my kids yell in agreement for not going to school. I'm still sending them to school. So, but I'm going to take points from Cy for sending his kids to school. Points to Mimi for mentioning school choice. Terry says there's a House bill for nationwide school choice. And points to Mimi. She answered someone else's question too. Why I love libertarians. They practice civil disobedience, so free loses control. I never had control, so it wasn't mine to lose. You know, I will, Daniel. Education is my thing. Well, one of them. Make sure you're following Terry. In addition to all she does for the show that makes the show awesome, she's amazing on education, and she does Congress. She does a lot of things. So check out Terry on X for sure. Points to Mimi, parents should control education. Points to Mimi, education should be controlled by parents. Points to Mimi, my wife passed college bio just by listening to me rant. If my kids get any less than an A+, I'll be very disappointed. Points to Loren for answers tighter than oh, Jesus, here we go, scientific.
A disulfide bond. Thank you, Cy Libertarian. We've established that's far too eloquent.
Yeah, excellent for pronouncing that for me. I went to art school. Points to Lars for the smarmy voice about regulation. Points to me, where did you find these brilliant people, panelists? Wow, they are in California. Yeah, they're amazing. Points to Loren, taxation is theft. Points to Lars for looking like a disappointed father when he's answering the question. Points to us, 10,000 in the chat. Yeah, we're over 11,000 now. That's excellent. Points to Mimi for the fire answer. Points to Mimi for being a structural engineer. Minus 100 if you work for Trump. Yeah, that's the one that came up earlier. Points to Mimi, zoning laws are infringement on your property if it doesn't infringe on your neighbors. Plus as many points as I can give to Mimi for being a structural engineer. Points to Loren, the free market will solve the housing shortage. Points to me for saying kerfuffle correctly. I'm not known for my pronunciation skills, which I just mispronounced. But all right. Points to Loren for the proper use of kerfuffle. Thank heaven for autofill. My civil engineer friend went from building children's hospitals to building data centers. He's gone to the dark side. Points to Mimi. Points to Cy for drinking whiskey with me. And just a reminder, I will be on If by Whiskey next Wednesday with Jake and Mark, and that's going to be awesome. Points to Lars, you should change your politicians and underwear frequently and for the same reasons. Points to Loren, I like this guy, and he took that auto pen from the White House. Points to Lars, am I being detained? Minus 100 free for going past my bedtime. If I don't get my beauty sleep, my beard won't grow back. There's a beard emoji? I didn't even know that. Points to Lars, screw the government. Points to Loren, auto pen question. Does it still have ink in it? Free might need a pardon for bad question. Oh, here we go. I think they're great, but we live within a corrupt voting system. Points to Loren, he is eloquent. Points to Loren, titanium tactical pen, because my original was taken by TSA, is the most libertarian thing said tonight.
Suck it, TSA. Resign, all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Points to Loren's pets, and I'm back 200 to Lars because he's a badass. Good way to finish it. Let's check the scores here. See who won. I can't find the drum roll. I'm so terrible at some of this stuff. Here we go. And Lars with the win.
Hey.
8,082. Loren in second was 7,916. And Mimi just behind with 7,800. It was so close, though. Mimi,
We're awesome.
third
We're
place.
awesome.
What did you think?
Oh, I'm fine with that. I think that this was a great show. I really enjoyed it. I think that everybody, I mean, like somebody said, we all kind of agree. So it's not like it makes it hard. I mean, like one of the things you allowed was debates. There was never really a debate because we all pretty much agreed. But I thought it was great. I thought that this was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I thought it was great, and I don't mind losing to these two gentlemen. I think that they're fabulous.
Excellent. Plug yourself and plug the convention, please.
Yes, please, please. If you're here in California, or even if you're not, you might want to come. It's going to be a great convention. We've got all kinds of really great speakers, lots of good business. Like I said before, go to ca.lp.org/convention. Book your rooms tonight if you want to save, $20 a night, which I think everybody wants to do. Come to our banquet and possibly win a really cool gun and other stuff. And hear Lars speak as our keynote speaker. Loren, of course, is going to be chairing the convention, and I wish him good luck with that. Chairing California conventions is a lot of fun. No, not really, but kind of. I've done it a lot. And yeah, please. And there's one person in the chat that was asking me about structural engineering things. If you have a specific question, just text me or send me an email at treasurer@ca.lp.org, even though it has nothing to do with libertarianism, because I want to help. So that's it.
Excellent. And Mimi is the treasurer of LP California. That's ca.lp.org. And on X, it's LP of Cal. Thank you so much, Mimi. Great time tonight. And
thank you.
Loren, second place. What did you think?
Love it. Having a great time. I got no problem at all being smoked by Lars. Absolutely. I'm cool with that. Lars is a rock star.
And plug yourself and plug the convention, please.
Well, I think you should absolutely come out in February and enjoy the Southern California weather and enjoy hanging out with some Southern California libertarians. And whether you do that or not, I want to encourage you, whoever you are, dear listener, within the sound of my voice, to get involved in the place where you live. Do whatever your passion dictates. Go and look at whatever it is you want to look at, but go look at something. Get involved in the governance of the place where you live, your city, your county. Get involved there. Don't let yourself get distracted by faraway outrage and fear. Be in the place where you live and be known to your neighbors and figure out what they're about. Build your community.
Excellent. And Loren's the chair of LP California. Again, that's ca.lp.org. You can follow him on LinkedIn, Loren B. Dean. He's got the Substack, lorendean.substack. And again, the X is LP of Cal. Thanks so much, Loren. Appreciate you, man. And the big winner tonight, Lars Mapstead. What'd you think, Lars?
Awesome. I was concerned I wasn't going to win. Loren and Mimi are freaking awesome, based as fuck people, and they rightly deserve to win. The answers to all the questions were awesome, and I just want to put a plug out. If there's people in the chat or people listening to this, and you want to make it so that we're actually able to run candidates and give people a choice in America to end the political violence in America, go to votingrights.com, check out what we're doing. We're looking for champions in each state that can help champion ballot access changes across the country so that anyone can run for office, so that we have more competition, because competition breeds excellence. And right now we have just a bunch of mediocre puke bureaucrats running the show, and we need to get rid of them all.
Excellent. Anything else you want to plug?
That's it, votingrights.com. And I want to see everybody at the national convention doing the party business. Let's grow this thing. Let's kick all these fools out of the swampy DC and put some actually base people in there so that we can shut it down.
I've been a huge fan of yours for a long time, Lars. I appreciate you doing this. This is a lot of fun for me. You can check out Lars votingrights.com. That's the Voting Rights Foundation. You can follow him on X at Libertarian Lars or Facebook at Lars 2024. And he's got the Lars 24 website, which has a lot of his based ideas for America on it. And it's excellent. Appreciate you, Lars. And let's add Terry back in here. Terry, what'd you think tonight?
I think it was awesome. The chat was great tonight, and it was really close. And yeah, Lars, you just barely skinned by there. I mean, what happened? What was going on? I don't know. But I had a lot of fun. I love the answers and most of the questions. I'm kidding.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm just kidding.
Who do we get on Tuesday, funny lady?
Okay. On Tuesday night, we have David Ben. I believe you say it, Benner, who is a podcaster. Casey Rasmussen. I'm catching free speech disease. And
oh, my Lord.
and he is the host of They Both Suck podcast, and also Mr. Scientific himself, Carl Cramback, will also be with us. And I know you guys enjoyed him in the chat tonight, so I know you'll like him then. And I have to do it again. So you guys, please go to my X account and support House Bill 3119. There will be a big meeting at the Oklahoma State Capitol on February 14th from 2 to 5. Okay. People have been asking me about the bill, so I'm going to tell you what this bill does. It is COVID related, but it also covers all other health care. It restores the patient's constitutional right to remedy, which is your First Amendment right, by the way. And everything has to be based on good faith belief of a federal procedural bar, which means it changes the time that you can actually go to civil court and get information and discovery on everything. It applies to claims on or after February 1st of 2020. It ensures all Oklahoma courts retain jurisdiction, federals get none, and protects patients' rights to bodily autonomy. Oh my gosh. So that's what that bill does. Myself and my daughter-in-law wrote the bill. It's already been approved. It already has a House number and has now been sent to the Oklahoma State House Judiciary Committee for review and vote, hopefully in February. So thanks everybody for listening to that rant.
Yeah, you know, anything that's important to Terry is very close to my heart. So please help Terry out with that. Leslie Batts is doing an amazing job with it. It's super important. So follow Terry, help her out with that. And we are on X. I am Smarter Game Show on X. She is Bats T76. You can get our swag at freedomsuperstore.com. I am wearing the Make Anarchy Great Again shirt tonight. On YouTube, you can find our shorts at Freedom Uncut. Thank you again to Xano. Your privacy matters. Choose Xano, the leading blockchain platform that prioritizes confidentiality and security. And if you're new to the space, check out intro.xano.org. We will be doing all of these conventions. Like we said, next up is California, February 13th through 15th. Then we got Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, Texas, and the national convention in May. Get involved, make a change. And we've got Spike coming on March 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern. We have a bunch of guests joining him, and we'll be revealing them as time goes on here. So stay tuned to see who's coming on. Thank you to all of our subscribers, and thank you to Lars for subscribing tonight. We appreciate your support. We're trying to do a ton here, so every dollar matters. We appreciate you, and you can subscribe to us on X. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, you can go to email studio@freedomuncut.com. I just want to highlight one more thing in the chat here. Phil says, we need structural engineering guidance on building the new and improved Killdozer. So
Yes.
let's go. So thank you to everybody in the chat. This was a ton of fun. You guys made this show awesome. Thank you to our guests. I had a lot of fun. Really looking forward to meeting y'all in person in California. And we will be back Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Peace out, y'all.